European hornet calls to mind a lumbering Chinook helicopter. If so, the newcomer is a stealth fighter. And it relished the plentiful supply of food in the shape of other aerial insects. This is where the problem lies. For while the Asian hornet is partial to hoverflies, wasps, and various types of wild bee, it really goes to town on the honeybee, swooping in on hives to pluck off its far smaller quarry. With a compound eye on efficiency, worker hornets behead their prey, then dismember it, biting off the wings, legs, and abdomen, before taking back to the nest only the thorax, stuffed with protein-rich flight muscles, perfect fodder for the developing hornet brood. It's the entomological equivalent of a shopping trip for prime rump steak, except the hornets do their own butchery. In the worst cases, mobs of hornets will linger at the hive entrance, decapitating the emerging bees one after the other until they can move into the colony unchallenged, stripping it of honey, eggs, and larvae. The bees back in Asia cobble together a defence of sorts, carpeting the hive entrance and swamping the intruders in a mass of shimmering abdomens. The heat ball produced by the friction is enough to cook the intruder. The European bees have a go at this too, but seem far less effective. With the deck stacked in its favour, the Asian hornet has a field day. Over the summer, a single queen produces up to 6,000 young, almost 10 times as many as typically found in a European hornet's nest. Most offspring develop into sterile worker females, the ones wreaking the damage to bee colonies, but around 900 turn into breeding males, and 350 become reproductive females, known as gynes, which form the next generation of queens. While many gynes either fail to mate or perish over the winter, a few survive to start new nests themselves the following year. It needs but a handful of these foundresses to succeed for a population to take off, particularly if the new nests aren't detected and destroyed fast enough. And that's what happened in France. When nests were discovered in built-up areas, local firefighters were called in to remove them, but otherwise the authorities ignored the hornet, perhaps reassured by its lack of obvious threat towards humans. The insect isn't especially aggressive, and its sting no worse than that of the native hornet. In Europe, perhaps 6 fatalities to date can be attributed to Asian hornets, a statistic which compares favourably to deaths from wasp stings. The honeybee population is less immune. In the Gironde département, almost 1/3 of colonies have been weakened or destroyed in a single year, one beekeeper losing 80% of his hives. Dispersing at up to 80 kilometres each year, much further if the foundresses happen to hitch a ride in a passing vehicle, the Asian hornets have advanced unchecked over France. Along the way, they have acquired a weakness for seafood, buzzing up and down coastal fish markets in search of small shrimps. It seems that any protein will do. By 2014, they had spread to Belgium, Portugal, and Italy. 1 million of them were estimated to be in Germany. Then, in the early summer of 2016, they were spotted on the Channel Islands of Jersey and Alderney. It was only a matter of time before they reached the British mainland. Changing agricultural practices going back a century have devastated Britain's native bee and wasp populations, wiping out dozens of wild species and putting paid to many a honeybee colony. In recent decades, the threat to these important pollinators has worsened as crops have been drenched in pesticides and diseases have spread. Throw into the mix an exquisitely proficient bee killer and things have gone from bad to catastrophic. For this reason, the UK government has adopted a zero-tolerance approach. The overriding objective of the Asian Hornet Response Plan, the first of its kind in Europe, is the rapid interception and destruction of the insects before they get established.